Let me be clear here. Everybody knows that there's a truck driver shortage right now, and there has been for a number of years. And the reason for that is one reason. It's crap pay anymore. The pay is terrible, and so are the living conditions. There are tens of thousands of guys out there with licenses that have gone to other jobs because they won't drive a truck anymore because the money just isn't good enough. They can't support their families. They can't pay their bills. The wages are too low. Truck drivers are leaving this industry because there's not enough money. So when Kathy told me about an ad she came across the other day from a trucking school recommending how students go about paying for the exorbitant price of going to trucking school these days, and one of the suggestions, one of the ones that hit me the hardest, was taking out a second mortgage on your house so you can finance this $8,500 bill to go to this trucking school. To risk your house to help you get a job that pays less than minimum wage so you can lose your house to the bank, that's the kind of crap that goes on into this industry. And that's one of my biggest problems with trucking these days. You're paying for a job that pays you less than minimum wage. You'd be better off to go work at the mall in the food court these days than drive over the road in a truck. So these trucking schools, though, they still want to make their money off you, and they're happy to charge you $8,500 a person. And they don't care if you have to take out a bank loan or what, sell your mother's china or take a second mortgage on your house just to pay them, because they don't care what happens to you. And there's no guaranteed job even at the end of this rainbow. All you get for $8,500 is a handshake and a 50-cent diploma, and no guarantee of a job. When you do get a job, it's not worth having. Trucking companies aren't hiring new drivers fresh out of driving school because they're just overwhelmed with qualified drivers. They're hiring new guys out of driving schools because they can't find anybody else. Why is that? Because they've all figured out there's no money in it anymore. That's the whole deal. So when I see something that says, take out a second mortgage on your house so you can be a truck driver, that just drives me nuts, because they're just taking these new guys that don't know any better and they're just cleaning them. And one of the biggest problems with these schools is that they hardly give you any seat time. You hardly spend any time learning to drive the truck. The large majority of the school time is sitting behind a desk doing God knows what instead of figuring out how to drive the truck. You can't learn to drive a truck sitting at a desk in a classroom. It's that simple. Why is it like that? Well, because the bureaucrats dream up the rules, and that's how they function. They do everything with paper and a desk. And it's got nothing to do with practical experience, and that's one of the biggest problems with government. You get all these guys that have absolutely no practical experience in what they're talking about, yet this is the new position they've been given to figure this out. And it just doesn't work that way. It takes years of behind-the-wheel practice to become a good truck driver. You don't learn it in a driving school, and you sure don't learn it for $8,500 or whatever these guys are charging. That's highway robbery. P.T. Barnum said, there's a sucker born every minute. Well, I don't want you guys to be one of those suckers. Don't even think about going to these driving schools. If you've really got to do it, make sure you're single, so you're not borrowing money out of the bank or something like this and put your family in hock and lose your house and not be able to feed your kids to go to the school. But go to a carrier that will train you and then hire you. At least then you've got a hope of, starting off without being $10,000 in debt by the time you pay for the school and your accommodation and everything else. You're getting a job to make money, not to pay money to get the job. That's ludicrous. Over-the-road truck drivers have left the industry in the last 10 years because the pay is bad, the living conditions are bad, the food at the truck stops is expensive, the lifestyle is crappy, and the truck stop showers are nothing short of gross. Nobody wants to do it anymore, but particularly for less than minimum wage when you average out your hours versus paid by the mile. It's not worth doing anymore. And that's why there's a driver shortage. No matter what anybody tries to tell you that doesn't drive a truck, that's the truth of it. So don't be taken in by one of these snake oil salesmen. Some of you guys in the past have gotten down on me for being hard on the trucking industry. It's stuff like this that just makes my blood boil. This is just a case of trucking schools trying to rip off people that don't know any better. And I don't want to see anyone fall victim to that. So be careful what you do and how you do it. Plan ahead and don't let them take you to the cleaners. You get into trucking to make money, not to give them your money. So keep the rubber side down. Don't be fooled and taken in by these snake oil salesmen. And I'll see you on the back home.